This is your Classical Break, your daily dose of classical music. I'm Tyler Alderson, and today and tomorrow we're going to be listening to one of Debussy's most popular pieces, La Mer, which means the sea. Now, this is the perfect piece to discuss a term that gets thrown around a lot when people are talking about Debussy's music. And to quote Inigo Montoya, "You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means." Impressionism is the word, and it's usually used to describe a kind of French art from the late 19th and early 20th centuries. You might have a general idea of it. Painters like Monet and Renoir used natural light and short, thick brushstrokes to create evocative scenes with vibrant colors. A lot of times the pictures may seem blurrier, I guess for lack of a better word. There's a lack of sharp, crisp lines that delineate each figure that you'd find in, say, a Renaissance painting. And that's part of the point of the Impressionist movement in art. In part, it was a reaction to the formal realism in art. Some painters wanted their work to look as realistic as possible. Everything is well-defined, colors are muted appropriately. Impressionists experimented with texture and light and color, and the result is something that doesn't necessarily look like real life. It's not a photo-perfect look, but something about it feels right. You know how you see some beautiful view, you take a picture, but it doesn't quite look the same. People always say pictures don't do it justice. And that's what Impressionists wanted to do. They wanted to do it justice, capture the essence of the scene, even if they had to sacrifice some of the realism in the details to do it. Now, you might be wondering if you've accidentally put on an art history podcast, but this does connect to Debussy because he is often called an Impressionist composer, and he hated that. He once said, quote, "Imbeciles call my music impressionism, a term employed with the utmost inaccuracy." There are a lot of similarities, especially with Debussy's use of texture, and that's what people are latching onto, rather than focusing on the formal composition techniques we've talked about before, development of thematic material, how to structure a rondo, and all that. He used the qualities of the sounds, the textures of the instrument, short phrases here and there, to create an atmosphere with his music. And it's telling that while this is in many ways structured like a symphony in 3 movements, Debussy took pains not to call it that. He preferred 3 symphonic sketches. It's also important to note the subject of the piece, the sea. We've featured program music before, pieces that are built around a specific idea, usually telling a story of some kind. With Debussy, and especially in this piece, the story is less important than the setting. And again, he's looking for the essence of that setting. But the reason Debussy didn't like the comparison with the Impressionism is that he thought that music was too abstract. An Impressionist painting is still a painting of something, a landscape or a busy street. Music, in Debussy's mind, doesn't represent things so concrete as that. He was inspired more by another ism, symbolism. The basic premise of symbolism is that there are things that cannot be expressed directly, but can be approached in art through symbols, metaphors, other indirect methods. So beyond the concrete nature of the sea, there are what a symbolist might call the primordial ideas associated with the sea. And this is an attempt to express those ideas through music. So in that spirit, I won't say anything about the music or what it's supposed to represent. I'll just tell you that Debussy called this movement From Dawn to Noon on the Sea. Here's the U.S. Air Force Band with the first movement of Debussy's La Mer. I know it's a cliche to say, oh, if you close your eyes, you can just imagine so-and-so, but I really think it's true of a lot of Debussy's music. Even if you didn't know the title, The Sea, you might be able to guess just because of some of the images and the sounds that Debussy uses. Thanks to the U.S. Air Force Band for putting that up on musopen.org. And thank you for listening. If you get the chance, please rate and review this podcast wherever it is that you're getting it. I'm Tyler Alderson, and tomorrow we're going to be continuing with the second and third movements of Debussy's La Mer. See you then.